you beautiful wholesaler, listen, before you give that property owner an offer, I understand it's like your knee-jerk reaction. You had a good conversation. Finally, somebody is nice to you on the phone and you're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a deal. I'm gonna make so much money. It's so exciting. Wait. I love that enthusiasm, but you need to put in the work that real professionals do. You need to find out the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying every single seller every single time. This is gonna save a lot of heartache, and this is gonna save a lot of your offers getting leveraged to get higher prices. All right, so the first pillar that I want to talk about, and it's the easiest one to open up the conversation, it is about the condition of the property, right? They are going to go and they're going to talk to you about the condition and what's happened to that property and what repairs it needs and the things that they've done to the property well before they're going to talk to you about their emotions and what's going on and what their motivation is and what price that they want. So start with the condition of the property. That's the first thing that we want to talk about. And you want to use these 4 layers of pre-qualifying as your scaffolding, as the skeleton of every single conversation that you have with a property owner, because it's going to keep you on track to understand, is this somebody that's going to actually do business with me? So when you're talking about the condition of the property, it's very important to get specific. Ask this question: what remodeling have you done to the kitchen and bathrooms in the last 5 years? All right, this is such a powerful question because a lot of rehab, a lot of the expenses in a house go into the kitchen and the bathrooms. So if they've already done a lot of renovations and upgrades to those areas, you know that they've got a lot of pride in this house and they're gonna probably want the highest price, full market value for those properties. And listen, they should get it. If they're investing into their property, they should get a return. But if they're saying stuff like, oh, it's in original condition, oh, it needs a lot of work, or oh, we started renovating but we haven't finished, so it's kind of torn apart right now. That should be like light bulbs going off in your brain. You should be so excited when you hear these things because it really lets you know that this is somebody that has the potential to trade equity, potential equity in their house for speed and convenience. And that's what we're looking for. That's how we find the best deals, when they want to trade potential equity for speed and convenience. So ask something specific and then start asking about, well, how is the roof? How is the mechanics of the property, right? How is the plumbing? How is the electrical? How are the appliances? All of these things are big ticket items, and it allows you to understand what the condition is so that you can make some calculations on what the estimated repair cost will be for that property. All right? The second one is the timeline. When do they want their money? Plain and simple. When do they want their money out of this property? You need to find out the timeline. I think this is the most critical because this is going to tell you whether they've already made the decision or not to sell this property. You want to say, hey, I typically can get you your money in the next 14 to 30 days. Does that work for you? And if they say, I would sell it tomorrow, that would be perfect. The sooner I can get my money, the better. That's when you start really getting excited because this is somebody that is ready to make the decision. They've already mentally made the decision. They just need you to present the offer. This is the best case scenario, and this is what you want to be looking for because we find what we're looking for. So let's find these deals of people that are ready to make a decision right now, okay? Because nothing is worse than you get through this whole process and you're like, oh my gosh, this is such an amazing lead, and then they don't want to sell the property for another 6 months, or they can't sell the property for another year, or they don't want to sell the property for a few years because they want to wait for somebody to graduate, and then they'll move, and then they'll downsize in this whole thing. I've seen it all. I've been involved with it all. I've gotten excited about it all, and I'm telling you, you can avoid a lot of heartburn by understanding what is their timeline, and the shorter the timeline, the hotter the lead. Right? A hot lead in our business, somebody that's ready to go that we get really excited about, is somebody that's going to make a decision in the next 7 to 10 days. The third pillar is motivation. Why do they want to sell this property? I want to give you an example here because I really want to bring this home. I worked with this property owner, his name was Randy, and he had just inherited a property from his grandfather. And he had owned it about 6 months. It had gone through probate and it was sitting vacant because he had another house. He had a full-time job. He was going through a divorce. It was this whole thing. And so he was really busy. He didn't have enough time for the property. And the property kept getting broken into. So the neighbors kept complaining and complaining. And Randy started getting all of these notices from the city of Phoenix on this property. And then all of a sudden he started getting all these fines because the property looked terrible. It was broken into. There was broken windows. There was bottles everywhere. It was just like, it was the worst property on the neighborhood, in a neighborhood where all the neighbors were like, what is going on? And so he wanted to get rid of this property as soon as possible. I'm telling you guys, this happens every second of every day in every city across the entire United States. There is somebody like Randy, but you need to understand what their motivation is. The beautiful thing about the third step in pre-qualifying is when you get the condition of the property and you get their timeline to sell, typically 85% of the time, they tell you the motivation. You don't have to ask that really awkward, weird question of, well, why are you wanting to sell right now? What is your motivation on a scale of 1 to 10? Don't do that. That's what amateurs do. First, get the condition, timeline. You should be able to pull out the motivation, right? If you can't, the other 15%, you could just ask them, what's helping you make this decision to sell this property right now, right? That's the conversation that you want to have. But the motivation is so key because that's going to really tell you, okay, wait a second. They want to do this deal right now. I need to go over there right away because they are so stressed out that they're ready to make a decision. And listen, we know statistically 6 to 10% of the real estate market is like this at all times. There are so many different reasons for distress. There are taxes owed. There are judgments on property. There is pre-foreclosures. There's just vacant houses. There are so many people that just can't keep up with the properties anymore and they inherit properties like Randy and they just don't know what to do. We need to go out there and we need to help them out. Find the motivation. Something that really helped me out was this master lead sheet. This kept me really organized on all 4 of the pillars of pre-qualifying. You can get this and download it at ttpinsider.com. ttpinsider.com. We have a ton of tools and resources for you to grow your wholesaling business. And the last pillar, the 4th pillar of pre-qualifying every property owner every single time is, of course, the price. How much do they want? Right? You've got the condition, you got the timeline, you got the motivation, and if you get the price, I am telling you, that is the absolute best lead that you can possibly go on. Because the beautiful thing is, you don't have to be this master closer when you go on the appointments and say all the right things and go and do this elaborate presentation, because the closing is a natural progression of doing incredible pre-qualifying lead follow-up and going on that appointment and presenting the offer, whether that be in person or virtual. So pull the price out of the seller. We've got a ton of videos that go deep dive. I don't want to deep dive too much into pulling the price out of the seller in this video. Check out the other videos of pulling the price out of them because there's a lot of different techniques. But basically, at this point, they should be getting to the point where they're comfortable enough in the conversation to tell you how much they want for the property. All right, so if I can buy this property and it's completely as is, you don't have to put another cent into the property, okay, and I pay all of the title fees, all the attorney fees, all the transfer fees, it's a net cash offer to you, how much would you take? And then just listen. And you're gonna pull the price out of them and it's gonna be absolutely incredible. And you're gonna comment on this video and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this totally worked. I'm so excited. I didn't know what to say before and now you do. Just keep it simple. Condition, timeline, motivation, price. And remember, you need to pre-qualify every single property every single time. If they say, hey, listen, yeah, come on over, check out the property and give me a price, hold it back and just say, absolutely, I'm excited to meet you. Before I come out there, I just want to make sure that I'm prepared. Can you tell me a little bit about the property, right? What remodeling have you done to the kitchen and the bathroom in the last 5 years? We're on condition, then timeline, then motivation, price. You're going to be unstoppable incredible, and you're gonna just do absolutely incredible things in your community. Thank you so much for watching this video. We have so much more, so definitely check that out. And if this was helpful, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and check out the links down below. We have some incredible resources for you.